I want to talk to you about the notion of the Maryland Civic Guard. The Maryland Civic Guard, which we're announcing this morning, draws its purpose from that notion of community, of connectedness, of the essential partnerships required to respond and prepare. It's designed to recruit every Marylander into the cause of preparing and protecting our state, recognizing that in our state there's no such thing as a spare Marylander. And here's where we need your help. Our Civic Guard will seek to build on the strengths of current partnerships, and we have a lot of current partnerships. Partnerships between local governments, volunteer organizations, private businesses, and our state government. But to better identify them, to better connect them, and to take this potential and actually make it kinetic. Not after the event, but before the event. I've asked MEMA, the Maryland Emergency Management Agency, headed by Richard Muth, who I believe is here. I think I saw his eyes somewhere in our crowd. To work in partnership with the University of Maryland Center for Health and Homeland Security to launch a statewide effort to work with local governments to find out what resources they need in terms of their own planning, and to work with businesses and nonprofits to find out what resources they can provide, and to broaden and expand those partnerships, and again, make them not just potential, but make them kinetic, and make them active before the event rather than after the event. For those of you who are here on behalf of businesses or nonprofits, I hope you'll visit MEMA's website. The internet can be such a powerful tool, the likes of which we have never had before. Maybe we should put every teenager who has a Facebook in charge of emergency preparedness so that we can figure out how to make these connections and do them promptly. Our website is www.mema.state.maryland.us. And I'd like you to send us information on what you might be able to offer during an emergency situation. And we'll use this information to help build partnerships so that we can ensure that our state's prepared and protected. For our colleagues in local government, I want to ask you to work with MEMA and your own partners in state government to identify the resources about which you are already aware and that you think you might be able to expand elsewhere. The resource gaps that you have that you're looking to fill, and how we can better coordinate and leverage everyone's capabilities. In a letter to your Director of Emergency Management from Richard Muth, the Director of MEMA, asking for your help is going to be coming to you, I believe, via snail mail, hard mail, paper, for those of us who still work on paper. And I hope you will fill it out and help us to make these connections, and to do it now. I once sat with General Alexander of the National Security Agency, who is often says to his own staff in the context of the NSA's important work, he asks this question or makes this statement. He says, if we only knew what we knew, if we only knew what we knew about the partnerships that are out there, the power that's out there, the connections that are out there. If we only knew what we knew, let's make it real, let's make it active, let's make it kinetic, and not just allow ourselves to be lulled into a false sense of Homeland Security by telling ourselves, well, it's out there if we need it. We need to know where it is. We need to know how those operations work. And under Janet Napolitano, our new Secretary of Homeland Security, and Kathleen Sebelius, both of whom, by the way, were governors, worked together in the National Governors Association, have had to stand in front of cameras, whether in tornadoes or drought or other emergencies, and had to answer those important questions. What do you know? What are you doing about it? And what should my family be doing about it? I think you're going to see a much more effective and robust level of exercises and training and drilling, the sorts of things that we would always do with forces before we send them into theater. Well, the theater is here, especially in the era of asymmetrical warfare and PAMFLU. The theater is right here. Before I close, I also wanted to mention that we are going to be using some of the $2.68 million grant that we were awarded from the Federal Department of Homeland Security and FEMA to support the Civic Guard initiatives. And we're very fortunate to have strong partners in the Obama administration who share that imperative, that understanding that Homeland Security is the basis of all our progress. You know, Thomas Aquinas once wrote that any seeker or of a higher truth must eventually and inevitably return to the idea of community. Dr. King said it differently when he said that we were all bound together in a web of mutuality. As Marylanders, I think that we have long understood that. But let us guard against that tendency that great people have to sometimes lose their memory. We must remember and we must understand that higher truth, that we progress as a people on the strength of our neighbors, not on their weakness. It's a truth that builds trust and community, a truth that proclaims the dignity of every individual, a truth that affirms our own responsibility to advance and to protect the common good, a truth that affirms that sense in our soul that there is a unity to spirit and to matter, and that what we do in our own lifetimes does matter. And we choose to be a community. Thanks very much for stepping up.